Many weeks ago, before the Oregon estate became noisy with loud generators and self-appointed gossip secretaries, a young lady named Munachi moved into the compound quietly one Sunday evening. She came in with only 2 boxes, a standing fan that had seen better days, and one small plastic bucket that she balanced gracefully on her head. The way she greeted the gateman that day, you would think she had rehearsed it. She gave a slow smile with a small voice and gentle bow. Gateman, oh, well, from that moment, people began to talk about her. By Monday morning, half the compound already liked her. She wore long gowns that reached her ankles and scarves that covered her head neatly, and she walked slowly like someone who didn't want to offend the ground. Even the children called her Auntie Saint before knowing her real name, and in turn, she would smile and pat their heads like a Sunday school teacher. The first week, she swept the whole corridor without being told, and when the landlady saw her, she clapped her hands in surprise and said, "Ah, this one is different, oh. God has finally remembered me. My last tenant used to cook ogbono soup and leave the pots outside for lizards, but this one, she's a blessing." Munachi only smiled shyly. "It's just small sweeping, ma. I can't stay where everywhere is dirty." Before long, every woman in the compound started comparing themselves to her. If one of them forgot to greet the landlady, the woman would hiss and say, "Even that new girl with scarf that just came greets better than you." It became a competition such that whenever Munachi walked past, people adjusted themselves and spoke softly, pretending to be decent too. She quickly became friends with Tina, the woman who owned the small provision shop by the gates. Tina was loud and full of energy. She would always shout, "Customer, come and buy now," even when nobody was around. While Munachi, on the other hand, talked as if she was afraid of disturbing air. But somehow, their friendship made sense. Tina liked that Munachi was calm, and Munachi liked that Tina was generous. Every morning, Munachi would pass by Tina's shop, smile and say, "Good morning, sister. I like how you wake up early." Tina would laugh and shout, "My dear, money doesn't wait for people that like to sleep, oh." Then she would give her a can of cold malt and say, "Drink, Jare, you are too gentle. You need sugar in your system." Soon, she even trusted Munachi with her shop keys. One afternoon, she wagged her finger playfully. "Muna, if you see the supplier come and I never reach, just help me collect the goods. I trust you. You are not like Lagos girls." Munachi only smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll help you. We are all sisters." The compound women loved her because she was the unofficial peacemaker. When neighbors quarreled over who blocked whose balcony with buckets, Munachi would appear like an angel, speaking softly, "Please, life is not all about fights. Let's have peace." Even the men in the compound greeted her with respect. "Good evening, madam," they would say. "You are a good example in this our estate." But the real comedy began when the landlady, Mama Dafe, decided that Munachi was her spiritual daughter. One afternoon, she called Munachi into her apartment filled with plastic flowers and old calendar pictures of past presidents. "My daughter, I like you," the landlady said, fanning herself with a magazine. "You are not like all these other tenants that wear trousers and be forming slay queen. You are very decent. In fact, if I had a son, I would marry you for him." Munachi smiled politely. "Thank you, ma. I am just living quietly." The landlady nodded seriously. "Yes, I see that. Don't mingle too much with them, oh. They are too noisy. If you start laughing with them now, you will become like them. See that one that sells puff puff at the junction? She used to be calm before she joined them." And that was how it started. From that day, Mama Dafe treated Munachi as if she was the compound's pride. When the tenants meeting came, she even introduced her dramatically. "This is Munachi, our very good tenant, the one that ties scarf and doesn't make noise. If every woman were like her, I would be sleeping well in this compound." The others just rolled their eyes, and Joy, the single mother who lives in the next block, muttered, "Too much calmness is suspicious. Even lizard nods before it strikes." But Tina defended her. Leave my Muna alone, oh. She's a good person. You people like bad things too much. Not every quiet woman is fake. And that was how Munachi's reputation grew. When someone lost their key, they would run to her because she's trustworthy. If a neighbor needed someone to hold small money till the next day, Munachi was the safe box. At night, when everyone was asleep, she would sit by her window, filing her nails and singing quietly. Her room was simple. She had just one bed, one plastic chair, and a big brown box where she kept her clothes and important documents. Sometimes she would smile to herself as if she was remembering something only she understood. And if you happened to pass by her window at that moment, you would think she was a peaceful angel. By the time Munachi had spent 4 months in Oregu Estates, her presence had melted completely into the compound's rhythm. She had become like a wallpaper, always there, quietly blending in and never drawing too much attention, yet always watching everything. She knew who quarreled with who owed the landlord rent, who pretended to travel every weekend just to visit secret boyfriends, and who always cooked stew on credit. Nothing escaped her sharp eyes. Then, the first move came on a Thursday afternoon. Tina, the provision seller, had gone to Mile 12 Market to restock her shop. The clouds had started to gather and she was already running late. So she called Munachi and said, "Abeg, my sister, if the supplier comes, help me collect the cartons of noodles and keep for me. I'll pay him when I come back. He will drop it and go." Munachi smiled. "No wahala, Tina. I will handle it. Don't stress yourself." When the supplier arrived, she took the delivery like a professional accountant, signing the small paper confidently and arranging the cartons in neat piles. The man even complimented her, saying, "You look too gentle for this area, madam." She smiled and replied, "People mistake quietness for weakness, but it is not." Now, that statement, if only someone had heard it, would have been the biggest red flag of all. That evening, Tina returned tired but happy. She counted the goods, found everything intact and hugged Munachi like a sister. "Ah, you are too trustworthy. If Nada Joy now or any of those compound women, they would have removed one carton for themselves before I returned. But you are different." Munachi laughed and said, "You just have to trust people sometimes." And from that day, the trust doubled. Tina started leaving the shop keys with Munachi whenever she had errands. Sometimes she would even ask Munachi to help her sell in her absence. Munachi never touched her money at first. She balanced everything properly, wrote neat records, and always returned the correct change. And that was how she slowly built her foundation with transparency. Then she graduated into small borrowing. She started innocently. One afternoon, she knocked on Joy's door smiling politely. "My sister, please, can you borrow me small 2,000 naira? My gas just finished and I don't want to cook with stove today. I'll return it tomorrow when I collect my salary." Joy, who was always soft-hearted, nodded immediately. "No wahala, Muna, you are not a stranger now." And true to her word, the next day, Munachi returned the 2,000 naira with thanks. From that day, whenever she borrowed, she returned it. The 1,000 naira for recharge card, 700 naira for transportation, and even 200 naira for pure water. Sometimes, she would even add 50 naira as appreciation. Before long, people began testifying, "That Munachi girl, you can trust her with your last kobo." And that was how she trapped them all. The compound became her little stage and everyone was unknowingly playing their role. She offered to keep small items for people like keys, extra phones, and even spare cash. One of the tenants, a tailor named Rita, even used her room to store her fabric for a week. "You are the only person I can trust not to touch it," Rita said gratefully. Munachi smiled and replied, "Don't worry, I am happy to help." The funniest part was that whenever she wanted to test her influence, she would do something slightly suspicious just to see if people would doubt her. One day, Tina noticed 1,000 naira missing from her shop drawer and she jokingly said, "Hey, Maybe rats carried my money, oh. Munachi looked her straight in the eyes and said, maybe you miscounted, my sister. You know Lagos heat can make our brain jump numbers. Tina laughed, slapped her forehead and said, true, true. This my head, Seth, eh? You see why I like you. You have sense. Meanwhile, that 1,000 naira was folded neatly inside Munachi's brown purse. She smiled. Her first test passed successfully. By the 6th month, the whole compound was under her spell. The landlady trusted her more than she even trusted her own daughter. One day, she gave Munachi the spare key to her apartment, just in case I forget something when I travel. Joy, the single mother, allowed Munachi to pick her son from school sometimes, and the boy would always say proudly, Auntie Mona is a good woman, oh. She buys me meat pie after school. What the poor boy didn't know was that the meat pie was just an investment in silence and trust. However, the only person who didn't fully fall for Munachi's gentleness was Uncle Sylvester, the old man in flat 2. He used to sit in front of his door every evening with his transistor radio, pretending to be asleep but actually listening to all the compound gists. One evening, when the women were gossiping about how Munachi was the most trustworthy person alive, he shook his head and said, when someone is too good, check them twice. The women laughed at him. Uncle Sylvester, you just like wahala. You don't know good people when you see them. But he nodded and said, okay, oh, I just hope this your angel will not grow wings one day and fly away with your peace. They laughed it off, thinking it was a joke. Meanwhile, Munachi's calmness was starting to change shape. She began thinking faster than she spoke. She was planning her next move while smiling politely. She noticed that Tina was now traveling more often for business. She noticed Joy usually left her ATM card at home. And she noticed that the landlady always kept her gold chain in a small red box. Every detail was stored in her memory like a well-arranged library, which would be consulted at the right time. And then, one bright Saturday morning in Oregon Estate, neighbors were washing clothes, shouting at children and arguing over whose water hose was blocking whose. Everything seemed normal until Tina's scream pierced through the air like a siren. Jesus! My shop! My goods! Somebody has finished me, oh! The entire compound ran out. Even the landlady came out half-tied in her wrapper. They all rushed to Tina's shop by the gates, and what they saw made even the gossipers speechless. The shop was empty, completely empty. Shelves that once held rice, milk, Indomie and detergents were now bare like classroom desks after exams. The padlock was open. The door was wide, but there was no sign of breaking in. It looked like someone who had the key had simply opened the shop and carried everything quietly in the night. Tina fell on the floor crying. Over 500,000 naira goods gone. I am finished, oh. Who did this to me? The landlady held her chest. Ewo, what kind of thief is this that steals like breeze? People began murmuring, but who else has the key to the shop? Someone asked. Tina sniffed. Only me, and she stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes slowly turned to Munachi, who stood at the edge of the crowd wearing her usual long gown and scarf, holding a small nylon bag as if she came to buy milk. Munachi looked confused. Only you and who? The landlady asked sharply. Tina hesitated. Only me and Munachi, but she wouldn't do that now. The entire compound went silent. All eyes turned to Munachi. She blinked twice. Me? She said calmly. Tina, are you saying I stole from you? Tina stammered. No, I didn't mean it like that. It's just that you had the key. Someone clapped her hands dramatically. Ha! The devil walks quietly, oh. I have been saying it. Too much calmness can hide wickedness. Wait, Munachi said and lifted her eyes. You people should not insult me. I didn't steal anything. If you like, search my room. And they did. They immediately searched her room thoroughly. The police came. The compound men followed. They opened her drawers, cupboards, and even checked her water drum. But nothing. No stolen item was found. Not even one sachet of milk. The matter died down after a few days, even though people still whispered behind her back. Some said she was innocent and too gentle to steal, while others swore that she was just smart and that gentleness was part of her strategy. However, the landlady, as usual, supported her. Abeg, leave that girl. If she wanted to steal, her hands won't even be able to touch anything. That girl's conscience is clear. I can feel it. But Uncle Sylvester wasn't convinced. He shook his head and said, "Na lie, Mama Dafe. Sometimes the people we trust are the ones who carry our peace like handbag. That girl is too calm, abeg. Too calm for Lagos." Well, Munachi ignored them all and still walked around with dignity, still sweeping the corridor and still smiling politely as if nothing happened. A week later, she even went to comfort Tina, who was still depressed. "My sister, you'll recover. Don't worry. I know it is painful, but everything happens for a reason." Tina nodded tearfully. "Thank you. You are a good friend, Muna. I know you didn't do it. My heart tells me so." Munachi smiled. "I would never hurt you. You are like a sister to me." She even offered her food. "I was just about to fry plantain. Will you eat?" Tina smiled. You can never change, always caring." Munachi smiled shyly. "What is life if we can't be kind?" And that was how she won Tina's trust again, with sweet words and laughter. However, life in Lagos has a strange way of turning things around. You can play smart, but Lagos has a bigger brain. And Munachi's brain was about to meet its match. Her game spoiled when Joy's son, little Daniel, unknowingly uncovered a small receipt he found in Munachi's nylon bag. That Saturday morning, Joy had gone to the printing press while Daniel stayed at home, jumping around as usual. Munachi had visited to drop some old clothes for him. She came with her small nylon bag, dropped the clothes and left in a hurry. Daniel, who was curious as always, peeped inside the bag before his mother returned and found a folded piece of paper. Thinking it was a drawing, he slipped it into his pockets. Later that evening, while Joy was sweeping, she saw the paper on the floor. She bent down, picked it up and froze. It was a printed receipt from a wholesale store in Agege Market, dated a week after Tina's shop was emptied. The items listed rice, noodles, beverages and spaghetti. It matched exactly what Tina used to sell. Strangely, the seller's name was Miss Munachi Ofo. Joy's eyes widened. Her mouth went dry. She looked at Daniel. "Who gave you this?" Daniel shrugged. "Auntie Muna. I saw it in the nylon." Joy took the paper and ran straight to Tina's house. Tina, come out, oh, something don't happen." Tina came out in confusion. "Joy, waiting again. You won't make my food burn? Forget your food. See this thing," Joy said and shoved the receipt into her hand. Tina squinted. "What is this? Read them well now." Her lips moved slowly as she read, "Agege Wholesale Market. 2 bags of rice, 10 cartons of noodles. Seller's name." Her voice trailed off and her eyes widened. "Ha, Munachi?" "Yes, so," Joy said in shock. "The same Munachi that cries innocence. The same one you gave your shop key to." Tina's spoon fell. Jesus, she even signed her name. The two women looked at each other, breathing hard. Then, at the same time, they shouted, "We are going there now." They grabbed their slippers and dashed to Agege. The bus ride felt like it took 10 hours. By the time they reached the shop address on the receipt, they were sweating and fuming. They saw a young man offloading goods in the shop. Tina showed him the receipt. "Excuse me, please. Do you know this person, Miss Munachi Ofo?" The man looked up. "Yes, now, she's my customer. She dropped these goods here last week. She supplies me often." Tina blinked back tears from her eyes. "So, it is true? My shop goods. She moved them here?" Joy's jaw tightened. "Wait till she hears what we saw." They didn't waste time. They went back to Oregon like police on a mission. When they reached the compound, it was already evening, and as if fate had been waiting for that moment, Munachi was standing by the corridor watering a small flower pot, singing softly. Joy stormed towards her. Madam Long Gown, good evening, or should we say Madam Agege Wholesale? Munachi turned sharply. Joy, what are you saying? Tina held up the receipt like evidence in a court case. You stole my goods and sold it off as a supplier. You thief! You wicked soul! Munachi's face went pale. What are you talking about? I didn't. Stop lying! Joy shouted. We went to Agege. The shop is full of the same goods you stole. The man even said you usually supply him. So you use scarf to confuse all of us. Well, today, your scarf will not save you. Neighbors began trooping out and shouting, what is happening? The landlady too came out rushing. What is it again? What is going on here? Joy pointed at Munachi. Ask your angel. Ask her why she was building a business with stolen goods. The compound turned into a mini market of noise. Some shouted, call the police, while others said, wait now, let her confess. Munachi raised her hands trembling. Please wait, it's not what you think. I can explain. I was only keeping the goods for someone. I didn't sell it all. Which someone? Tina snapped. Ghosts? Joy clapped her hands. Can you see her face? Gentle thief, Madam Innocent. You fooled all of us. The landlady looked confused. Munachi, tell us this is a lie. You can't do this. Not you now. I didn't mean to, Munachi whispered. I only borrowed the goods to start a small business. I wanted to pay back, I promise. Tina stepped back in disbelief. You borrowed? From who? My shop. You call that borrowing? Before the arguments could escalate, a police van pulled up outside the compound. Apparently, Joy had called them on their way back. 2 officers entered the compound with stern faces. Which one of you is Miss Munachi or for? Munachi's knees buckled. I am the one, sir. You are under arrest for theft and fraudulent possession of goods, one officer said and threw handcuffs around her wrists. The entire compound gasped and covered their mouths. Uncle Sylvester shook his head and said, I said it now, too much peace can hide storm. As they led her away, Munachi's scarf fell from her head into a puddle, but nobody bent to pick it up. The long gown that made her once look innocent now dragged in the dust like an evidence of her own deceit. She turned back once to look at Tina. Tina, I am sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. But Tina's eyes were red. You killed my trust, Muna. You are worse than an armed robber. And that was the day Oregon Estates learned that evil doesn't always shout or wear short skirts. Sometimes it wears long gowns, speaks softly and says good morning with a smile that hides danger. By 8 a.m. the next morning, the gossip had already reached 3 streets away. One of the tenants came running to tell the landlady that Munachi's story had been mentioned on a morning radio program. A calm lady in Oregon Estate was accused of stealing goods from her friend's shop and setting up a secret market in Agege. The landlady nearly dropped her broom. Jesus, radio too? She held her chest. So all my prayers for her wasted like Gary in rain? And just like that, the compound became a tourist center. Strangers came to stare. Is this where that long gown girl stayed? They would ask. The tenants were tired of retelling the story, but they never missed an opportunity to add pepper to it. My sister, you won't believe it though, Joy told one reporter proudly. This same woman used to tell us not to gossip. She even said she doesn't watch television because it corrupts the mind, but she was the corruption herself. Tina added her own. I still can't believe it though. She used to help me sell sometimes. When she smiled, even my heart smiled. But see what she did. The landlady was the most embarrassed. She kept repeating, me that called her my daughter, me that gave her my spare key, me that used to defend her. My enemies have mocked me. I even told my sister in Benin that I had found a tenant who would enter heaven straight. Uncle Sylvester, who was listening from his chair, laughed. She still entered somewhere straight now, Mama Dafe. At least, even if it is not heaven, she went straight to police station. The landlady glared at him. You this old man, every everything is a joke to you. It is not a joke, oh, he replied, shaking his head. Now warning, make all of una learn. Too much trust, they spoil sense. In the evenings, people gathered outside to discuss her like breaking news. The men said, women with long gowns are the worst. They use innocence to disarm you. But the women argued, I beg, don't generalize. It is just her. But, that girl fine, no. And wickedness fits fine girls sometimes. Meanwhile, at the police station, Munachi sat on a hard wooden bench with her head bent. Her scarf was gone and her long gown was wrinkled. For the first time, she looked exactly like what she had been hiding all along. An officer came to question her. Miss Munachiofo, we've confirmed that the goods in the shop under your name match the description of what was stolen from Miss Tina Eze's shop. Would you like to explain how that happened? Munachi swallowed hard. I didn't plan to steal, sir. I just wanted to start my own business. I thought I would return the money once I sold everything. The officer raised an eyebrow. So, you pretended to steal and later planned to return it. You planned it so perfectly for someone who didn't mean it. Munachi lowered her head in shame. People trusted me too easily. I thought I could manage it. Back in Oregon, the compound had become a theater of lessons. The tenants gathered that evening under the mango tree to talk about the whole matter as if it was a Nollywood series. Joy said, you see why I don't leave my key with anybody. Even my own mother will stand at the gate and wait till I come back. Rita, the tailor, nodded. From today, if anybody borrows my tape rule, I go follow am go in house to collect it back. I don't want peaceful thieves. By the next day, a police van came again. This time, it carried Munachi inside. They brought her back to identify the goods that had been returned to Tina's shop. The moment the van entered the gate, everyone ran out. Even the children left their toys. She stepped out quietly. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Tina folded her arms. So, Madam Borrower, how markets? Munachi looked at her with teary eyes. Tina, I am sorry, I swear. I didn't want to hurt you. Tina shook her head. You just didn't hurt me. You made a fool of me. You made me defend you when people doubted. You carried my peace and wore it like a cloth. You are evil. Joy spat at her. It is always people like you that make others stop trusting good people. If another gentle girl moves into this compound now, we won't even greet her again because of what you've done. The landlady came closer. Munachi, why? I called you my daughter. I prayed for you. You used to eat my food, oh. Munachi dropped her gaze. Mama, I don't know what came over me. I just wanted a better life. The police officer cleared his throat. Madam Better Life, oh yeah, move. We are going. As they led her back into the van, the compound women whispered prayers under their breath. Partly out of pity and partly out of fear that life could turn that fast. The van door closed with a loud bang and that sound echoed in everyone's hearts. Days later, Tina reopened her shop with the help of contributions from neighbors, and now she made it a rule to separate business from friendship. The compound returned to its usual noise, but the landlady changed the compound rules. No tenant should keep key or money for anybody again. If your hand itches you, scratch it with your own key. 3 months later, Munachi was released from her short jail term, and when she returned home, she was a shadow of herself. She passed the compound that afternoon with her head down, hoping no one would see her. But Oregon people had sharp eyes. Tina saw her first. Their eyes met. Munachi tried to smile weakly. Tina, good afternoon. But Tina only looked at her firmly and said, we will never forget. Munachi nodded with tears in her eyes and walked away silently. That evening, Uncle Sylvester told the women, you see life, you can wear long gown, you can cover your head, but if your heart is not clean, everything na costume. Next time, open your eyes, not just your gates. And that was how Oregon Estates finally learned that real goodness doesn't wear a uniform. And ever since that incident, whenever a new tenant arrived with a scarf and a long gown, someone would always remind them, better watch that one, oh, we've seen her type before. But the truth was, they hadn't just seen her type, they had lived with her, and now they know that decency is not character. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story out with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!